Don't pretend to be a hero, because you rather be a hero that is alive than to be a minced meat hero.
Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm here with Charles, and this is a very special edition Tour de France F12, and it's a rather huge size. Charles, thank you so much for letting me film your bike and for coming over. Could you perhaps just run us through your bike?
Thank you for having me. This bike, it's 59.5 size. I got it earlier this year, and I've been riding it for the last 8 months.
This is a Tour de France edition. Is there like a specific year this was produced, or?
I think this was produced early this year. I had to order it last April, I think.
Okay.
So before COVID hit, or Singapore went into circuit breaker,
yeah,
I ordered it.
I see.
And then it took about 10 months to
Wow.
finally arrive in Singapore. And then I was busy, so I didn't collect it until sometime in the first week of April or second week, I can't remember.
And what is your height? Because this frame is very, very huge.
I'm 1.91 according to SAF.
And this is a 50...
59.5 cm.
Is that the largest, or does it still come in?
I think it goes up to 62.5. So if you look at the bikes, the big triangle, right? The head tube, I think they call it.
Yep.
It's a bit longer.
Right.
Whereas if you compare it against some smaller bikes, the head tube is a sharp triangle.
And you have here a DuraAce Groupset and a Fizik saddle, which is the 3D printed, which is similar to the power mirror, right?
Correct.
Why do you choose this saddle and not a power mirror?
So I came from Specialized, and for me, Specialized is a little bit too scientific, too mathematical. Okay, and that's why I gave up on the Specialized bikes. With the Italian bikes, this one in particular, it's a little bit more emotional for me. It's like an Italian car versus a Japanese Lexus. Right. You want to touch an Italian car, and you probably not bothered too much about a Japanese Lexus. No offense to Lexus owners out there, they are very good cars. Yep. It's just that for me, it's not just the performance of the bike. The extra factor is really the emotional appeal to me, which is why I went for the Fizik. Of course, also the bike is Italian, right? So I didn't want to put a American branded saddle. So that explains why. So
that's why the Wheelset as well is an Italian Groupset. This is the Campagnolo Bora WTO in the 60mm depth.
That's right.
How are these wheels?
Okay, so despite me saying I know American brands, I love American technology. Yeah? I started this with a Zip NSW. And then one day, Kenneth called and said, Charles, we have the first delivery of the new Campy WTO 60. Would you want one? I said, sure, why not? Yeah. So the difference between this and the Zip, first of all, these are lighter. I think mathematically, again, 100 over grams. All right. And then when I ride this, first of all, because it's glossy versus the Zip, which is semi-matte, I feel better. And when I feel better, I feel faster. So vanity effect. Right. But otherwise, no perceptible difference. Other than, of course, the spokes are arranged in a different way than the standard Zips. I actually wanted to get one F12 myself, but in a rim brake version. But CycleWorks told me because of the shortage in stock with the bike damning right now, that the wait time was a bit long. So I decided not to continue with the purchase. And also another drawback for me was the weight of the frame. So speaking of weight, do you know what's the rough estimate of the... I think without the Garmin unit, the last time I weighed, it's no more than 7.7. So afterwards, fact check me, please.
Sure. And how does this bike perform, both in climbs and on flats?
Okay, so I've been riding it for 6 to 8 months, and I have the new F. I think I can tell the difference, even though I'm not a advanced cyclist myself. This is a little bit more twitchy now that I have the F to compare to. It's definitely a few hundred grams heavier, but it's sub 8. Okay. For me, on my usual morning rides, which I do every morning, about 60 click, I can tell that the F is slightly better in terms of handling. But otherwise, my data point hasn't shown that I've improved because of new equipment. So I'll be very honest with you.
Right, and the F, I think, is one of the lightest disc brake frames available right now, right? And when you say twitchy, do you think it's because of the size of the frame that is huge, that's why it's a bit off, you know, that's why it
No, actually, my new F is also 59.5. Okay, so there's one corner that I do every morning, just at Pasir Panjang going into South Buona Vista.
Yep.
Okay, there's a traffic light there. And one morning, like 2 mornings ago, my F was the DuraAce was flat. Somehow it went flat. I had to use this as a backup bike.
Right. Okay.
And on that corner, I almost fell.
Oh.
It was dry, so I can feel that the twitch, you know. So I have that kind of experience with this bike. I think I've done everything I can to make it compensate for the frame of the weight of the frame. So I don't have a lot of stuff added on. It's all standard. The bike came with the Groupset. Yes, the wheels, I've changed it. I've also, you know, shaved off maybe a few grams of the saddle versus a standard saddle. So nothing much added to this, although I have the Garmin power pedals, which I decided not to use because I'm not into that kind of hard data.
Right, because I think if you are into data, actually I was going to ask where is the power meter. Right now I think Favero Electronics is one of the most popular pedal-based power meter. I mean, I've interviewed everyone, most of them have the Faveros. Will you consider getting a Favero?
Not that one, because I already have the Garmin and they cost me 1,699. I had it on this bike for about 3 months. It was nice to know, you know, different segments, you know, my power ratio, my power and so on. But after a while, you know, it didn't mean anything to me, so I took it out.
Yeah. The no OSPW, any reason for that?
So I've got high school physics, enough to know that there is no perceptible difference because the OSPW, they're bigger, right? And the theory is that less friction and so on. But, you know, if you really think about it, the real world gain is not there. And you're spending $800 to $1,000 for different versions of it, right? And then also the ground clearance becomes smaller, and the chances of scrapping it becomes higher. So no point spending $1,000 just to, you know, have another extra risk. That's my view.
Yeah, that's very true. The Dogma F12, and you said you've ridden a Specialized. Which Specialized was it? The
Roubaix.
Oh, Roubaix.
Yes.
Okay. So that one obviously can't compare to the F12.
No, cannot.
Yeah.
I've tested the SL7. From memory, I think this is a stiffer bike.
Right. So would you still stick to a Pinarello, or would you try a different, more mainstream? I mean, this is pretty mainstream as well, but would you go for something else?
It will be hard for me to. I'm a very loyal guy, right? This bike has given me a lot of fun in the last few months.
Yeah.
And also, I think call out to both Yusof and Kenneth from CycleWorks. These guys are great. You know, if they cannot do it, they cannot do it. So you know, I'll stick to them, and also the brand, because the whole ecosystem works for me. There is a lot of S-Works in the streets. Right? And my personal commentary on this is that it's become like the BMWs. You know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 series. They all look alike. And as I said just now, you know, to me, the things I use has got to have a special emotional appeal to me. The S-Works don't do that for me anymore.
I know you have the F and the F12. Are you planning to sell this anytime soon, or are you going to keep this?
I posted this on Carousel, more or less to kind of like placate my wife. But everyone I have met and people who knows me, who've seen both bikes, they say, Charles, you know, the F12 looks sharper, it's prettier. So I think I'm convinced I'll keep it. Anyway, they don't make this anymore in this color. So, and this is one of those historic bikes, right? 7 Tour de France titles. Not mine, somebody else using the bike. So I'll keep it, you know, just so that I can feel good about it.
So we move on to the Instagram Q&A. If you guys want to ask your questions, you can follow me on Instagram and you get a chance to ask them. So Charles, the first question is, which everybody wants to know, what is the price?
The sticker price, without all the additional stuff, is a cool 21,700. I have the official receipt for insurance purposes.
So is this bike insured?
I haven't gone around to buying the insurance, and then I got the F.
Right.
So now I am going to buy the insurance for the F, not for this.
So I don't think many people know about buying insurance about bikes. Can you shed some light about that?
So I think the only offer in town is a company called Etika, right? You can go and search the website. You can basically get insured for up to, I think, $200,000-$300,000 personal injury insurance. And then the bike, you got to ask carefully, because I think, if I'm not wrong, the first year they'll cover the cost of damage to the bike, right? And then after that, it'll be 70% or something like that. It's gradual scale. So you're not going to get fully covered. And the best coverage is actually, my opinion, ride safely. Don't pretend to be a hero, because you rather, be a hero that is alive than to be a minced meat hero.
Personal question, because you're riding a rather expensive bike, do you feel the urge not to go over your limits because it's expensive, right? Compared to a rather cheaper bike, I can trash it around, just trash it anywhere.
Well, not really for me, right? First of all, the safety question is always paramount, right? But when it comes to what I call traffic light goal, right? I would give the courtesy to the guys in front of me. But if they take off and then they are so slow, right? In my opinion, I will not hesitate to just give them the correct signal and say, guys, bike on your right, and I'll just go past them. So I won't just because the bike is expensive, ride it more carefully.
Okay, we move on to the next question. Is the ride comfortable? Here say it is very stiff.
It is comfortable to the extent you want it to be, right? So I know of some people who slam the handlebars, do all kinds of strange things, even buying a smaller size bike to kind of look cool, right? And you can tell I don't do any of those things. This is standard built by Yusof. It is comfortable for me. I can do 4 hours on this bike with a short break in between for drinks and stuff like that. So I'm happy with the bike.
Okay. Speaking of being an all-Italian build, forgot to mention this is a Japanese group set. So the question is, Campy wheels with Shimano group set, why?
I wanted the Campy group set, and for practical reasons, they advise against it because the service here in Singapore is not like in Europe. And when I got this bike, it was the height of COVID, I think wave 2 in Europe. So no stock, and I didn't want to wait. And I think historically, the DuraAce has performed well on the bike, so I went with it.
Why the Tour de France color?
Okay, so it took me a while to decide because when I ordered this, the customization option was available, and you can actually build all the different colors. And I went online a few times, talked to Yusof a few times, and then finally decided that if I'm going to spend $22,000, I might as well get something that is flashy, okay? And but the overriding reason was safety, because in the evenings, yellow it's a bit more visible, other than glossy white, right? Glossy white is too common, so I wanted yellow, and of course, the heritage of this bike, the pedigree of this bike, the Tour de France yellow was the only option for me. Okay,
and do you know how many of this bike in this colorway in Singapore?
I think I've seen one just yesterday.
Was it a small one?
Small one.
I think I've seen that bike before.
They were having their prawn noodles at Beach Road. I was there after my morning ride. I was all changed up already. So I saw one, definitely smaller because it was a small bike. And I've seen another one, but I would guess no more than maybe 10, 12.
Do you go for a paint protection frame PPF? I think that's what it stands for. Or wrap to protect your bike frame? Do you find it necessary?
Short answer, I did not do anything to the bike. I think it still looks quite glossy. No, I don't do any paint protection programs, not even for the cars that I used to own. Okay, because if it's a deep enough scratch, trust me, it will cut through that layer.
Yeah, there's no point saving it anymore. Egan Bernal won the Tour de France on a rim brake F12. So why choose the disc brake frame instead?
Okay, it's back to aerodynamics. It's cleaner to look at. So I'm not at the level of Egan Bernal, right? He's super fit. I'm maybe just a little bit fit. And to me, there is no perceptible difference. And for me, you know, the disc brakes looks prettier because there is no break in the lines. So that's the only reason.
$21,000 bike. What do you do for a living, and do you own a bank?
Okay, when I got this bike, I was indeed working in a bank. But don't be mistaken that people who have this bike are all working in the bank. If you think about the Specialized SL7, if you trick it all out, or the other mainstream brands, they work out to be about 20,000 plus minus. So it's not really the bank thing.
What's the best way you guys fund your big new bike purchases? Is there any good tips or tricks?
First of all, you got to work hard, get a job that you enjoy, and hopefully that job pays you decent money, and you spend that money wisely, like this bike, right? But never buy anything on installment. Full stop.
That is true lah. Yeah, that's why I wish I could do YouTube full time and buy more expensive bikes. The bike or your wife?
Well, my wife, for obvious reasons, right? The bike is just, to me, it's a fitness tool, right? We because of COVID and so on, we have to find ways to keep fit. I used to walk and swim, and then the swimming is boring because you're looking at one black line, right, for 2 hours maybe. But the bike, you know, you get to see things and there is wind in your face. Now, so that's the bike when I'm alone.
Yeah.
When I'm with my wife, obviously it's my wife. She doesn't ride.
Yeah. Any time you'll get your wife into cycling?
I asked her if she wanted a bike like this. She's like, no, she will not be able to keep up with the speed, and she has other ways of keeping fit. So no.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I used to before I started cycling, I used to run half marathons, and then I got into cycling, and ever since then, I've never touched my running shoes ever again. I think it was really boring.
Yeah. So for a while, I would finish my ride. So I start at about 4:30 in the morning, right, and then I'll finish at about 7 max, because of traffic and so on. Then I'll come back. I'll go and do a few laps in the pool. But since a few months ago, I stopped doing the pool thing.
It's all on the bike now.
Yeah.
I know you have a Dogma F. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to film 2 bikes today. Hopefully, we can get you back and then we do the F. And Charles, thank you so much for coming out and talking through us your bike. And I really appreciate your time. And if you guys enjoyed this video, do like and subscribe. And see you guys in the next video.
Hey, you can ask me the final question. Am I subscribed? Then?
Oh yeah, Charles, final question. Are you subscribed?
Of course, I subscribed before you even agree to do the interview with me.
Oh, thank you so much, man. And
keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you back for the F again.
Thank you.